Prophet, peace be upon him, said, Al-yawmu yawmul marhama. Meaning, it is the day to show mercy upon the enemies. It is the day not to torture the enemies. It is the day to forgive the enemies. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala, he ruled about 30 countries. And I say a few names: Iraq, Iran, Oman, Egypt, Syria, Jerusalem, etc. It is not easy to rule a state today. But Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala, he ruled over the world. And he was well known for doing justice to every citizen of the states under his rule. He issued instructions to all the governors of the states, and the governors were answerable in case they failed to follow them. They were terminated if they were found wrong. Alhamdulillah ahlihi wa salatu ala ahliha amma ba'd. Distinguished President of today's program, honorable judges, respected teachers, and here all. Today I have been given the honor to speak on the topic of ideal leader and good governance. Dear far-sighted audience, the world has reached a consensus that good governance is significant for human resource development in any society. In this context, the UNDP, IMF, World Bank, various NGOs, and numerous studies suggest that good governance primarily relies on the institutional infrastructure. The literature further accepts that the quality of leadership is also significant for good governance. The important principle of good governance is that the ruler must be sincere and of impeccable character. Must consider himself not a ruler, but a servant. He should behave with restraint and avoid abuse of power. He should act within the parameters of the law and take upon himself the country's concerns and hardships. He should remain impersonal in the discharge of his duties and imperturbable in front of critics. Similarly, he should be mindful of his every act, that it shouldn't harm his subjects. Because he who transgresses his limits and discharges his duties dishonestly is the most disgraceful, and the Quran refers to him as zalim and cruel. Dear audience, the absence of honesty in any society often leads towards unethical practices. For example, our present day society is in the grip of widespread corruption. A politician submits a fake degree to stand in elections. A police kills a person in a fake encounter. A businessman evades taxes. A builder uses outdated material. And a teacher schemes on classwork in order to sell his time privately. And a doctor recommends a drug to gain commission from a pharmaceutical firm. So you can realize how much the concept of honesty is violated. The foundations of society are undermined and the nation's future is ruined. The good governance is neither dependent on democracy nor infrastructure of institutions, but the primary determinant of good governance is the leader, who is set responsible for establishing all the necessary systems. Therefore, the state should be governed by leaders committed to earning people's happiness through their actions and governance. Leaders committed with the welfare of the masses, intellects with insight, intuition, and knowledge, effective commanders, effective planners, and policy makers for all sorts of affairs, and thrifty financial managers, distributors of justified taxation, firm advocates of human rights, astute defense planners, pragmatic and rational decision makers, educationists and knowledge promoters, effective change managers causing revolution or evolution as applicable in societies. Physically and mentally, the best human being among all humans in the society. The most significant and shining example of ideal leader is the personality of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. When he became the head of the state of Medina, he exemplified good governance. He created a bond of brotherhood among the Muslim citizens. signed agreements with non-Muslims, and remained concerned about their welfare. He upheld the Islamic value system in which justice remained central. He declared that all humans are the offspring of Adam, peace be upon him, and that there is no difference between Arab and non-Arab. Their intellectuals, the enemies of Islam in Mecca, were very cruel. But when Prophet, peace be upon him, conquered Mecca, the companions of the Prophet captured all the enemies and brought them to the Prophet, peace be upon him, with the slogan Al-Yawmu Yawmul Malhama, which means it is the day to take revenge upon the enemies. It is the day to tear the enemies. It is the day to kill the enemies. These enemies were those people who tortured Prophet, peace be upon him. These enemies were those people who poisoned his food. These enemies were those people who surrounded him. These enemies were those people who compelled the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his companions to leave the Mecca. These enemies were those people who surrounded him and tried to assassinate him. But see how our Prophet, peace be upon him, reacted and responded to the slogan of his companions. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, Al-Yawmu Yawmul Marhama, meaning it is the day to show mercy upon the enemies. It is the day not to torture the enemies. It is the day to forgive the enemies. Such a compassionate and forgiving leader the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was. Their dignitaries, Prophet, peace be upon him, in his lifetime itself had formed 4 dynamic, dedicated, determined and disciplined leaders, who were Hazrat Abu Bakr, Hazrat Umar, Hazrat Usman, and Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhum. I would like to put light upon very efficient and good leadership skill of one of the disciples of Prophet, peace be upon him. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala an, he ruled about 30 countries. And I say a few names: Iraq, Iran, Oman, Egypt, Syria, Jerusalem, etc. It is not easy to rule a state today. But Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala an, he ruled over the world, and he was well known for doing justice to every citizen of the states under his rule. He issued instructions to all the governors of the states, and the governors were answerable in case they failed to follow them. They were terminated if they were found wrong. In short, it is an essential prerequisite for any country or organization and societies to abide by the principles of good governance in order to move forward and attain the goal of public welfare. Here I terminate my talk with the prayer that to Allah make the country prosperous and give us tawfiq to bring them into practices. Ameen. Wa akhiru dawana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Thank you so much.